Imagine a man whose visions were so powerful that kings feared him, nations were shaken by his words, and history itself seemed to follow his predictions. Isaiah was not an ordinary prophet. He was a messenger with revelations so precise that they continue to unfold even today. His writings are not vague poetry or symbolic myths. They are direct warnings of events that would shape the course of civilization. And now, after nearly 3 millennia, we stand at the very threshold of his most astonishing prophecies. Isaiah spoke of global conflicts, the collapse of empires, and the rise of deception so grand that even the wise would struggle to discern the truth. He warned of leaders who would mesmerize nations, promising peace while secretly leading them into chaos. He foresaw a world where morality would be flipped upside down, where the pursuit of power would blind humanity, and where a final reckoning would divide the faithful from the deceived. Could we be living in the exact time he described? What sets Isaiah apart is not just his accuracy, but the undeniable pattern of his fulfilled prophecies. Kingdoms ignored his warnings and fell. Leaders dismissed his visions and were destroyed. His words were written in an age of chariots and swords, yet they described technological advancements, global conflicts, and societal corruption with eerie precision. How could a man from ancient Israel predict the world we live in today? But here's what most people don't realize. Isaiah's prophecies don't just end with destruction and deception. He also speaks of hope, redemption, and an unimaginable transformation. A time is coming when suffering will cease, when justice will reign, and when a new reality will emerge, unlike anything we've ever known. But before that happens, a final test awaits, a deception so great that only those who are truly prepared will see through it. Most people will ignore these warnings, dismissing them as coincidence or religious speculation. But what if they're wrong? What if Isaiah left behind a message specifically for this generation? A key to understanding not only what is happening, but what is yet to come. The world is changing at a rapid pace, but those who recognize the signs will not be caught off guard. What if everything you thought you knew about the future was an illusion? What if Isaiah already told us how it all ends? Stay with me, because what you're about to discover will shift your entire perspective on reality. The book of Isaiah, written more than 2,700 years ago, contains prophecies that still resonate today. He foresaw events that would shape the fate of nations, including economic collapses, global conflicts, and social transformations. What is truly astonishing is that, as time passes, we realize more and more that his words are becoming a reality. Skeptics may call it coincidence, but the truth is undeniable. The evidence speaks for itself. He described times of economic instability, where money would lose its value, and nations would desperately seek solutions. Today, we witness rising inflation, banking crises, and governments scrambling to contain the damage. What once seemed unimaginable is now unfolding before our eyes. Isaiah spoke of wealth vanishing and people consumed by uncertainty. How close are we to this prophecy becoming fully realized? The prophet also warned of wars and conflicts escalating on a global scale. He described a time when peace would be fragile and nations would rise against each other, driven by ruthless leaders. Look around. Tensions between countries are only increasing, and new conflicts emerge daily. Isaiah foresaw all of this and left us with a clear warning. This would be a sign of the times. Another intriguing prediction was that of a society where values would be reversed. He said there would come a time when evil would be called good, and good would be called evil. Today, this moral inversion is visible everywhere. Traditional values are ridiculed, while destructive behaviors are glorified. Isaiah showed us that this would be one of the most evident signs of the world's decline before a great transformation. Isaiah's prophecies are not just about destruction and chaos. He also saw hope emerging amid the turmoil. The prophet spoke of a time when a new leader would bring justice and change the course of history. But before that, there would be great challenges. And this leader? He will be recognized by few, while many will be deceived by false saviors. How many influential figures today present themselves as solutions, yet only create more confusion? Isaiah also spoke of redemption that would come after these difficult times. For those who remain steadfast, there is a promise of restoration. He envisioned a future where suffering and pain would give way to justice and peace. But this time will not come without a fight. Many wonder, what can I do in the face of all this? The answer lies in the scriptures. Stay vigilant and do not be deceived. With every new archaeological discovery and every major world event, we see that Isaiah's prophecies continue to unfold. The past and the present are connected in a way that is both surprising and undeniable, and ignoring these signs is like closing our eyes to reality. What lies ahead? Isaiah saw an astonishing future where everything would be transformed and justice would finally reign. But before that, he also foresaw the rise of a ruthless leader who would deceive the masses. Isaiah's prophecies warn of a ruthless leader who will rise to power, deceiving nations and leading the world into turmoil. He will not come as a conqueror with weapons, but as a charismatic figure promising peace and stability. His words will be smooth, his promises grand, and his influence unstoppable. People will flock to him, believing he holds the answers to global crises. Yet, beneath this facade lies a dangerous deception, one that Isaiah foresaw long before our time. Throughout history, we have seen glimpses of such figures, leaders who captivated the masses with their rhetoric, only to reveal their true nature when it was too late. Isaiah's warning is clear. This final leader will be more cunning and persuasive than any before him. He will manipulate economies, reshape governments, and silence those who dare to oppose him. His rise will be swift, and his reach will extend across all nations. Isaiah describes a time when morality will be turned upside down, and this leader will be at the center of it. He will redefine what is right and wrong, blurring the lines between truth and deception. Those who resist will be marginalized, labeled as obstacles to progress. It will be an era where deception is embraced, and those who seek righteousness will find themselves in the minority. How many today are already falling into this trap? This leader's power will not come from brute force alone. It will be psychological, emotional, and ideological. He will control narratives using technology, media, and influence to shape public opinion. Isaiah's words resonate even more in our modern world, where information spreads at lightning speed and manipulation is more subtle than ever. Imagine a figure with the ability to shape reality itself, convincing billions to follow his lead. Without question, we are told that many will follow him blindly, seeing only the illusion of peace he offers. But Isaiah also warns of those who will see through the deception. They will be labeled as extremists, troublemakers, or even threats to society. Their voices will be silenced, their warnings ignored. Yet, these are the ones who hold the key to resisting the coming deception. Will you be among them? Economically, he will introduce policies that seem beneficial at first: universal security, financial relief, and social stability. But hidden beneath these systems will be control. Those who do not comply with his new order will find themselves excluded, unable to buy, sell, or even participate in society. What Isaiah saw centuries ago mirrors what we see forming today. Are we prepared for what is to come? This leader will not rise alone. He will have allies, powerful figures who will support and enforce his rule. Governments, corporations, and even religious institutions may align with him, seduced by the promise of a new era. But Isaiah's prophecy is clear. His reign will be temporary. No matter how powerful he seems, his time will come to an end. The question is, what will happen before that moment arrives? Isaiah paints a chilling picture of the final confrontation: good versus evil, truth versus deception. The world will be divided, and people will have to choose a side. Those who remain faithful will endure trials, but their perseverance will not be in vain. Their faith will be tested like never before. Will they stand firm, or will they give in to the illusion of security and power? The prophet's words are not meant to create fear, but awareness. To see the signs before they fully manifest, to prepare not just physically, but spiritually. Every great deception begins subtly, and every great leader starts as a figure of hope. Isaiah's prophecy urges us to remain vigilant, to question, to discern, and to never trade truth for comfort. Yet, even as the world follows this leader into the abyss, Isaiah's prophecies do not end in despair. He speaks of redemption, of a promise beyond the darkness. After the storm passes, something greater awaits. Isaiah's prophecies do not merely warn of chaos and destruction. They also speak of a divine promise, a future redemption that will restore justice, peace, and righteousness. Amidst the turmoil, he foresaw the arrival of a Savior, one who would bear the burdens of humanity and bring light into the darkness. This prophecy would later be fulfilled in the coming of the Messiah, but its significance extends beyond history. It holds a message of hope for every generation. The prophet describes a world ensnared by corruption, deception, and suffering. Yet he also speaks of a time when all of this will be overturned. He foretells a servant who would be despised and rejected, yet through his suffering, many would be healed. His words echo through time, pointing to the ultimate sacrifice that would change the course of humanity. But redemption is not automatic. It requires recognition, faith, and action. Isaiah's vision of redemption is deeply personal. He speaks of hearts being transformed, of people turning away from their destructive paths and embracing truth. This transformation is not just spiritual but practical, an inner renewal that reshapes the way people think, act, and live. In today's world, where distractions are endless and deception is widespread, this call to redemption is more urgent than ever. For centuries, many have searched for meaning, for a way to escape the weight of guilt, fear, and regret. Isaiah's prophecy offers the answer, a path to restoration that does not depend on human effort alone. He describes a divine intervention, a moment when grace overcomes judgment. This promise is not just for the righteous, but for all who are willing to acknowledge their need for renewal. Isaiah presents a striking contrast between those who accept redemption and those who reject it. He warns that while salvation is available to all, many will choose to ignore it, clinging to their illusions of power and control. This division is not just theoretical. It plays out in everyday life, in the choices people make, in the priorities they set. How often do people trade eternal peace for temporary comfort? His prophecy extends beyond individual transformation. It speaks of a coming kingdom where justice reigns and suffering ceases. This is not a symbolic hope, but a literal promise. A future where righteousness will no longer be overshadowed by corruption. Every tear will be wiped away, and pain will be no more. The question is, do we live with this expectation? Or are we too caught up in the present struggles to see the greater picture? The promise of redemption is not a passive waiting, but an active pursuit. Isaiah emphasizes the need to prepare, to align one's life with truth before the final restoration arrives. He calls for vigilance, for a heart that remains steadfast even when the world seems lost. It's easy to be swept away by distractions, but those who hold on to the promise will not be disappointed. Throughout history, those who have believed in this prophecy have found strength in times of adversity. They understood that trials were temporary and that a greater future awaited them. Even today, those who embrace this hope find a resilience that defies circumstances. Isaiah's words continue to challenge us. Do we live with the assurance of redemption, or do we drift aimlessly through life? The world will continue to change, crises will rise and fall, and deceptions will spread. But Isaiah's prophecy stands firm, a beacon of light in a time of darkness. The promise remains, unshaken by time, waiting for those who choose to receive it. But what comes after redemption? Isaiah saw a vision even greater: the renewal of all creation. Isaiah's prophecies do not end with turmoil and redemption. They extend to the ultimate transformation of existence, a new heavens and a new earth. He speaks of a future where sorrow, suffering, and injustice are wiped away, replaced by everlasting joy and divine harmony. This is not a mere metaphor, but a literal promise of renewal, where the world as we know it will be restored beyond recognition. In his vision, Isaiah describes a place where death will lose its sting, and human life will flourish without fear or suffering. No more will people toil in vain, nor will injustice dictate the fate of nations. This is a complete reversal of the broken systems that have plagued humanity for centuries. Imagine a world where work is fulfilling, relationships are untainted by deceit, and peace is the natural order of existence. This prophecy challenges us to shift our perspective. In a world filled with temporary struggles, Isaiah invites us to see beyond the present. to anchor our hope in something far greater than political systems or human solutions. Every empire, ideology, and leader has risen and fallen, yet Isaiah's words remain unshaken. They point to a divine promise that stands the test of time. The new heavens and new earth are not just a distant dream but a reality in the making. Isaiah speaks of a city where joy overflows, where laughter replaces mourning, and where every tear is wiped away. Jerusalem will no longer be a city of conflict, but a city of joy, where God's presence dwells fully among his people. The brokenness of the past will be forgotten, and only renewal will remain. Isaiah's vision aligns with the hope echoed throughout Scripture, that this current world is not our final destination. The struggles we endure today are temporary shadows of a coming light. The injustices, wars, and betrayals that seem overwhelming now will be replaced by a kingdom where righteousness reigns. The question is, do we live with this expectation, or do we cling to what is fading? Many find it difficult to grasp the reality of such a transformation. They ask, how could this world ever be made new? Yet, throughout history, radical changes have taken place. Nations have risen and fallen, deserts have turned into fertile lands, and ruins have been rebuilt. If human hands can bring restoration on a small scale, how much more can the Creator of the universe accomplish? Isaiah emphasizes that this renewal is not for a select few, but for all who align themselves with the divine purpose. The invitation is open, yet not all will accept it. Some will cling to the familiar, even if it is broken, fearing the unknown. But for those who embrace the promise, a future beyond imagination awaits. This prophecy is not meant to create complacency, but urgency. It is a call to live today in alignment with the world that is to come. If justice, kindness, and truth will define the new creation, should they not define us now? Isaiah's vision is not just about waiting. It is about preparing. We are approaching a turning point, a moment where history will meet eternity. Isaiah's words serve as a beacon, reminding us that no matter how dark the present seems, a greater reality is on the horizon. But what will this transformed world look like? The prophet gives us an even deeper glimpse, one where nature itself is reshaped, and even the fiercest creatures live in harmony. Isaiah's vision of the future goes beyond human redemption. He speaks of a world where even nature itself is transformed. A time will come when the natural order is restored to perfect harmony, where predators no longer hunt and fear no longer rules creation. The lion will eat straw like the ox, and the wolf will dwell peacefully with the lamb. This prophecy is not just poetic imagery, it is a glimpse into a reality where the brokenness of the earth is finally healed. For centuries, humanity has witnessed the struggle for survival in the animal kingdom, a cycle of predation, scarcity, and competition. But Isaiah reveals a world where this struggle ceases, where peace is not just a human concept, but a universal state of being. Imagine walking through a forest without fear, seeing wild animals coexisting without violence. The very instincts that drive survival today will be rewritten by divine intervention. This transformation extends beyond animals. It will reshape the entire ecosystem. The earth, which has groaned under the weight of pollution, destruction, and imbalance, will be renewed. Rivers will flow with pure water, deserts will bloom with life, and the soil will yield its fruits abundantly. The very ground that once bore thorns and thistles will become a place of beauty and sustenance. Isaiah's prophecy challenges the way we perceive the natural world. Many accept that suffering and death are just part of existence, but this vision reveals otherwise. The world was not meant to be a place of endless struggle. Its original design was harmony, and it will return to that state. What we see today is only a temporary distortion, but a complete restoration is coming. Even human interaction with nature will change. No longer will people fear the wilderness or battle against the elements. The dominion given to humanity at creation will be fully restored, but this time without exploitation or harm. There will be a deep connection between people, animals, and the land, a relationship built on trust, not domination. This prophecy also hints at the deeper spiritual transformation that mirrors the physical renewal. Just as nature will no longer be governed by violence, human hearts will no longer be ruled by conflict. The peace seen in creation will be a reflection of the peace that dwells within every individual. The restoration of the world is not just external. It is a complete renewal of all things, inside and out. Skeptics may question how such a transformation could occur. Yet history shows that what seems impossible can become reality. Consider how humanity has reshaped landscapes, tamed the wild, and restored once devastated areas. If human hands can bring such change, imagine what divine power can accomplish. The future Isaiah describes is not limited by natural laws, but governed by a higher order, one where peace reigns in every form. This glimpse into a renewed creation should inspire us to see beyond the present decay. It reminds us that the world is not doomed to destruction, but destined for renewal. Every glimpse of beauty we see today, a sunset, a lush garden, the gentleness of an animal, is a small preview of what is to come. Isaiah's prophecy reassures us that chaos is temporary and harmony is the final destination. But if the very fabric of creation is being rewritten, what does that mean for society itself? The transformation of nature is only one part of the restoration. Economic and social justice will also be redefined in ways we can hardly imagine. Isaiah's prophecies not only describe a transformed world, but also a radical shift in the way society functions. He envisions a time when economic exploitation ceases, and every person enjoys the full fruit of their labor. No longer will the powerful oppress the weak, nor will wealth be hoarded at the expense of others. In this new order, justice prevails, and every individual experiences the dignity and fulfillment that was always intended. For centuries, economic systems have been plagued by corruption, inequality, and greed. The rich grow richer while the poor struggle to survive. Isaiah's vision offers an alternative, a world where people do not labor in vain, where their efforts yield rewards without interference from oppressive structures. Imagine a society where wages are fair, opportunities are abundant, and no one is left behind. The prophet's words resonate deeply in our time, where economic instability is a global concern. Rising inflation, job insecurity, and financial crises leave many feeling powerless. But Isaiah assures us that these struggles are temporary. He speaks of a future where security is not dictated by markets or politics, but by divine justice, a future where no one lives in constant fear of poverty or exploitation. In this renewed world, justice is not just a concept, it is the foundation of society. The days of the few prospering at the expense of the many will be over. Corrupt leaders, dishonest businesses, and unfair systems will no longer dictate the fate of nations. Instead, righteousness will govern, ensuring that every person receives what is rightfully theirs. Can you imagine a world where greed no longer drives decisions? Isaiah's prophecy also highlights the importance of ethical living. He reminds us that justice starts in the heart of each individual. The transformation of the world begins with personal integrity, choosing honesty over deception, generosity over selfishness, and fairness over exploitation. We are not merely waiting for change. We are called to embody the principles of the coming kingdom even now. One of the most striking aspects of Isaiah's vision is the complete removal of oppression. Throughout history, the vulnerable have been exploited, whether through forced labor, unfair wages, or systemic discrimination. But in this new era, every person will stand on equal ground. There will be no more marginalization, no more division between the privileged and the struggling. This prophecy is a powerful reminder that true wealth is not found in possessions, but in a just and compassionate society. Imagine a world where communities thrive, where no child goes hungry, and where prosperity is not measured by material gain, but by collective well-being. This is not just an idealistic hope, it is a promise of what is to come. Isaiah's message is also a challenge. Are we living in a way that reflects this future reality? Are we pursuing justice in our own lives, or are we contributing to systems of oppression, even unknowingly? The call to justice is not passive. It requires action, awareness, and a willingness to stand against exploitation in all its forms. As we anticipate this new world, we must ask ourselves, what steps can we take today to align with this vision? Supporting ethical businesses, advocating for fair wages, and practicing generosity are small but powerful ways to reflect the justice of the coming kingdom. But Isaiah's vision does not stop here. If economic and social justice are being redefined, what about the very nature of life itself? He reveals an even greater promise, the ultimate end of death and suffering. Isaiah's prophecies do not merely address earthly justice and prosperity. They extend to the ultimate human struggle, death itself. He envisions a world where suffering ceases, where pain is no more, and where death, the final enemy, is permanently defeated. This is not just an abstract hope, but a concrete promise, one that aligns with the vision later expanded in Revelation 21, where God wipes away every tear, and mourning, crying, and pain are no longer part of existence. For generations, humanity has sought ways to escape suffering through medicine, technology, and philosophy. Yet despite all advancements, death remains an inescapable reality. Isaiah reveals that the solution does not lie in human hands, but in divine intervention. A time is coming when decay and mortality will be undone, and life will be restored to its original, eternal purpose. Suffering in its many forms has plagued the world. Wars, diseases, heartbreak, and loss have shaped human history, making pain seem like an unavoidable part of existence. But Isaiah presents a different future, one where anguish is a thing of the past. Imagine a reality where no mother grieves, a lost child, where no one experiences betrayal, and where physical suffering is eradicated. This is the world that awaits. Isaiah's vision is not just about the absence of suffering, but the fullness of joy. If death is defeated, what remains is life in its purest form, abundant, untainted, and everlasting. Relationships will no longer be severed by time. Love will not be overshadowed by loss, and every moment will be filled with meaning. It is hard to fathom such a world when our current reality is filled with pain, but Isaiah assures us that it is coming. This prophecy challenges the way we view life itself. Many live as if everything ends with death, as if pain is the ultimate victor. But Isaiah urges us to see beyond this temporary reality. What we endure now is fleeting compared to the eternity that awaits. The struggles of today will be forgotten in the joy of what is to come. Even nature will be free from corruption. No more will disease afflict bodies. No more will the aging process bring decline. The brokenness that entered the world will be reversed, and creation itself will be renewed. This is not a gradual human achievement, but an instant transformation, orchestrated by divine power. Skeptics may question how such a reality could exist. After all, suffering and death have defined human experience for millennia. But Isaiah's words have proven true time and time again. His past prophecies have been fulfilled with stunning accuracy. If he was right about past events, why should we doubt his vision of the future? This promise is not for the distant unknown. It is an invitation to hope now, to live with the certainty that pain is not permanent, that every trial has an expiration date. Knowing this changes how we face difficulties. It gives strength to endure, knowing that darkness will not last forever. Isaiah's vision is not merely to comfort, but to transform the way we live. If suffering will one day cease, should we not strive to alleviate it in the present? If death will be no more, should we not live with greater purpose and love? This prophecy calls us to reflect, to align our lives with the reality that is coming. And yet, even as Isaiah describes this beautiful future, he also gives us a glimpse of something even more glorious, the eternal city where all this will unfold. The New Jerusalem, shining with divine glory, awaits those who embrace this promise. Isaiah's prophecies culminate in a breathtaking vision. The New Jerusalem, a city unlike any the world has ever known. This is not merely a place, but the fulfillment of God's ultimate promise, where his presence dwells fully with his people. Streets of gold, gates of pearls, and foundations adorned with precious stones symbolize the splendor of a world free from corruption, suffering, and death. The glory of this city is not just in its appearance, but in the divine presence that illuminates it. Unlike earthly cities which are built by human hands and destined to decay, the New Jerusalem is eternal, untouched by time or destruction. There will be no need for the sun or moon because God himself will be its everlasting light. No more will night bring fear or darkness cover the land. Every corner will radiate divine brilliance. It is a place where joy is unceasing, and love is the very fabric of existence. Isaiah describes this city as a place of absolute peace and security. No war, no injustice, no sorrow, only the purest form of life as it was meant to be. The struggles of the past will be forgotten, and those who enter will experience unshakable fulfillment. This is not a temporary paradise, but a permanent home, built for those who have held firm to the promise of redemption. In today's world, cities are symbols of both human achievement and human failure, filled with towering structures but also with poverty, crime, and division. The New Jerusalem stands in stark contrast, a city where no one is oppressed, where abundance is shared, and where harmony replaces conflict. Can you imagine a place where no one is hungry, where no one feels alone, where every heart is at peace? One of the most striking aspects of this city is its inclusivity. Isaiah's vision makes it clear that people from all nations will enter, united not by race, wealth, or status, but by faith and righteousness. There will be no divisions, no barriers, only a vast, diverse family dwelling together in perfect unity. What the world has failed to achieve for centuries, this city will embody effortlessly. The New Jerusalem is not just a reward, it is the final restoration of what was lost. Humanity was created to walk with God, to dwell in His presence without fear or separation. This city is the fulfillment of that original design. Every longing for purpose, every search for belonging, every desire for true connection finds its answer here. Isaiah's prophecy challenges us to ask, where is our true home? Many invest their lives in building earthly security, chasing wealth, status, or comfort, only to find that these things fade. The New Jerusalem reminds us that the greatest treasure is not found in this world, but in the one to come. Are we living with that perspective? This vision is not meant to create complacency but anticipation. Those who look forward to this city are called to live differently, to embody its values now, to pursue justice, to seek peace, and to spread hope. The kingdom of God is not only a future promise, it begins in the hearts of those who believe. The glory of the New Jerusalem is beyond human comprehension, yet Isaiah gives us enough to stir our souls, to awaken our longing for something greater. And as magnificent as this vision is, it is not the end of his prophecy. There is one final truth that he reveals, one that defines eternity itself, the moment when judgment and reward are fully realized. Isaiah's final vision is the ultimate culmination of all prophecies, the moment when every soul stands before the divine throne, where justice is executed and eternity is determined. This is the great reckoning, the final separation between those who embraced the truth and those who rejected it. No wealth, power, or status will matter on that day. Only the heart's alignment with divine righteousness will determine one's eternal destiny. Isaiah reveals that those who have remained faithful will inherit an everlasting reward, eternal joy in the presence of God, where peace is unbreakable and fulfillment is absolute. They will walk in divine light, free from suffering, fear, and sorrow. Every sacrifice made in faith, every moment of perseverance, will be rewarded beyond human comprehension. The struggles of this life will pale in comparison to the glory that awaits. But Isaiah also delivers a sobering truth. Those who have rejected this divine calling will face judgment. This is not a temporary consequence, but an eternal separation from the source of life itself. The scriptures describe this as the lake of fire, a reality as permanent as the reward of the faithful. It is not a matter of divine cruelty, but of divine justice. Each person's fate is the result of their own choices. This prophecy is a call to awareness. Too often, people live as if this world is all there is, chasing temporary pleasures and ignoring the weight of eternity. But Isaiah reminds us that life is not just a fleeting existence. It is a preparation for what is to come. The decisions made now ripple into forever. Have we truly considered what awaits beyond this life? Many dismiss the idea of divine judgment, believing that all paths lead to the same end. Yet Isaiah's vision is clear. There is a distinction, a final division between light and darkness, between life and destruction. Ignoring this reality does not make it disappear. Just as physical laws govern the universe, spiritual laws govern eternity, and no one is exempt from them. This moment of judgment is not meant to inspire fear, but urgency. Every person is given the opportunity to choose the path of truth or the path of deception. It is not about perfection, but about direction. Are we moving toward the light, or are we turning away from it? Are we embracing the promise, or are we ignoring the warnings? Isaiah's prophecy challenges the way we live today. If eternity is real, then every action, every word, and every belief carries infinite significance. Do we treat others with kindness, knowing that love reflects the nature of God's kingdom? Do we pursue justice, knowing that righteousness is the foundation of eternity? Or are we caught in the distractions of a world that is passing away? The final judgment is not just about punishment. It is about restoration. It is the moment when all wrongs are made right, when every injustice is accounted for, and when the faithful receive their promised inheritance. This is the fulfillment of every prophecy, the closing of history's great narrative, and the beginning of unending life in the presence of the divine. As Isaiah's words come to their conclusion, they leave us with one final question. Where do we stand? Are we prepared for what is to come? Have we aligned our lives with the eternal truth? The choice is before us, and it is one we cannot afford to ignore. But this is not the end. It is just the beginning. Because now, knowing all that Isaiah has revealed, we must ask ourselves, what will we do with this knowledge? How will we live differently? And most importantly, are we ready for what is coming? Isaiah's prophecies are more than just ancient words. They are warnings, revelations, and a roadmap for the future. Now that you've seen how his visions are unfolding in real time, the question remains, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you ignore the signs, dismiss them as coincidence, and continue life as usual? Or will you open your eyes, prepare yourself, and seek the deeper truth that so many choose to overlook? The world is changing at an unprecedented pace. We see moral confusion, rising conflicts, economic instability, and deception at every level of society, exactly as Isaiah foretold. But this is not a message of despair. It is a call to awareness, to wisdom, and to action. You now have the insight that most people do not. What will you do with it? Think about your own life. Are you truly prepared for what is coming? Are you making choices based on truth, or are you being led by the distractions of the world? Isaiah's prophecies challenge us to reflect, to seek wisdom, and to align ourselves with what is right, before it's too late. You were not meant to walk blindly through life. You were given the ability to discern, to question, and to seek understanding. But the greatest wisdom is useless if it is ignored. Those who act with knowledge will be ready for the days ahead. Those who remain indifferent may find themselves unprepared for what is to come. So I ask you, will you be among those who see, understand, and prepare? Or will you be among those who dismiss the warnings, only to realize the truth when it is too late? The choice is yours, but know this: time does not wait for anyone. If this message resonated with you, take the next step. Keep learning, keep questioning, and keep seeking the truth. And if you want to continue uncovering the mysteries of the ancient prophecies, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. There is much more to discover, and together, we will uncover it all. Stay vigilant, stay prepared, and above all, seek the truth before it's too late.